great gathering. I'm so impressed to see so many people that I haven't seen in years, and everybody turning out. And I've learned one. I made a couple of notes. One is never let your old editor Mike Rouse talk before you talk. It's tough act to follow. Dwayne was everything that you've been told today, as many of you know better than I. But Dwayne was, to me, a very interesting person on several levels. First, there was the writer. We've heard a lot about the Chicken Bone Special, which was a marvelous book. And I commend to anybody who's interested the second book that Dwayne wrote, which was called The Kidwells. In this, all the things that we've heard about Dwayne's writing come to, in my mind, a perfect head. He lived with a family in the Appalachian area in a little town that was a coal mining town where the coal had run out and there was simply no water for anybody, except those things that were required to keep people alive together. He lived with them, and he wrote about the entire family, and it's the most moving book and one of the most beautiful books of its kind that I've ever read. So if you could, I wish I had a dozen or 2 dozen copies to hand out here, but I don't. It may be hard to find. Well, there's one back there. Okay. Amazon.com. Okay, great. That's the first thing. The second thing was Dwayne as a teacher. I had the good luck to be one of the 3 or 4 totally unqualified by academic standards people who were allowed to teach students at the University of North Carolina School of Mass Communication and Journalism in the 80s. We were hired by a very prescient dean, Richard Cole, who discovered early on that while he had a marvelous staff and fine people all the way throughout, he didn't have a lot of people with much experience in newspapers. So he was smart enough to hire Dwayne, and he was smart enough to hire me finally, because Dwayne got in and said, you ought to hire our city. So I had the chance to work with Dwayne at that level. We were both downstairs. I was downstairs in a kind of a bullpen with 4 or 5 people, which indicated what the essential structure of the school thought of people without the proper qualifications. Dwayne was down there because we needed a place where there would be a long line of students standing to wait to get to Dwayne. And the reason, well, there were many reasons. Dwayne was a marvelous teacher. But the biggest reason was that Dwayne knew all the editors in the world, it would seem. And he would get you a job, and you've heard how generous he was with his time on that. He was just so great at that. It was a pleasure to know him. It was a pleasure to be part of his world and the generosity of it. And then there was Dwayne, the man himself, and he was incomparable in many ways. Nobody has mentioned one thing that he did yet that I think was remarkable, and that is he built a lot of houses for people who needed houses and could not spend much money on them. And he would take beatings from time to time on projects that he would start that were meant to be good for people. He loved people, and he was at home with people, and that's part of why all of us are so happy to be here to celebrate him today. He took a special interest in my son, Chris, my oldest son, who was going through a very tough period. He was a musician and had picked up a drug habit while he was on the road and needed a lot of help, and we were trying to work with him, but Dwayne was superb with him. Dwayne really saw that Chris needed, more than anything else, to get somebody who would make sure that he really was a good person and a fine person and would get better. And I credit Dwayne to a great degree with helping Chris get on the right path, which I'm happy to say he's on. Then came Judy. We met Judy when Dwayne was in the last years of his life, actually, but we had a chance to see them together when he was still healthy, and what a great couple they were. We were so thrilled to go to South Carolina to be with them and to see how happy Dwayne was, really happy and fulfilled he was, and how good Judy was for him. So this is partly her party too. I'm happy to have been given a chance to speak to you, and I'll shut up.
Okay. My name's Jonathan Smiley. I met Dwayne when I was 21 and he was 49. I was a junior first semester at UNC Chapel Hill. I was majoring in English, not journalism. I had three vignettes because he introduced me to that word. The first vignette is, these are all character vignettes, is curiosity. I was working later at Duke in Charlotte. He was my writing coach. We would go to lunch. We would walk down the sidewalk and he would stop in front of a manhole and lean down and read the iron works company that formed the manhole. He was always curious and always wanted to know about the details, and I will never forget that. The second story is a character trait of humility. Dwayne won every single journalism award this country offers and was nominated 3 times for the top award, the Pulitzer. And I asked him how he felt about this kind of recognition. He said, the next day when I walked into the newsroom, I would ask my editor to be put on the obituary desk. That's the kind of humility that man maintained throughout his career, even when the nation was saying good job. The last character trait is a story of transformation. The reason I was not able to major in journalism was a secret. I was getting newspaper articles on the front of the Daily Tar Heel 3 or 4 times a week, but I wouldn't major in journalism. So Dwayne one day said to the class, we're going to interview Jonathan Smiley, and told the class what I was doing every week, but that I could not pass the journalism spelling and grammar test. So he gets me up in front of class, and in about the 3rd question, the class has obviously figured out that I had a learning disability. And so Dwayne stops almost immediately after I'm forking out my guts, explaining something that I had been hiding from the public for 21 years, this embarrassing defect. And he said, I would have never brought you up here if I had known that. Do you want to stop the interview? Because he's always sensitive about people's feelings and never wanting them to put them on the spot. And I said, no, Dwayne, let's go, because I'm through the wall. I'm on the other side. And we finished the interview, and after class, he said, I will go to Dean Cole and get that spelling and grammar test waived so you can double major. And he did that, and I double majored in English and journalism after having fought this learning disability. So Dwayne to me is a friend, a father, a mentor, and one of his favorite sayings when we were studying the leads and how to write, he always said, make it sing. And today I think we're all singing for Dwayne.